Hi guys, welcome to the Kids Clay Workshop. I'm doing a few projects for you from home because obviously you can't come to a live session at the moment. So I hope that you're going to enjoy it. And I just want to do a quick check to make sure everyone has got everything they need. You've probably seen the list already, hopefully, but if not, let's just have a quick run through and just check you're all set up before you get started. So if you've got a plastic tablecloth, that's going to be brilliant to clean up, make it really easy. But for actual working, you need something the clay won't stick to. So this is just an old bit of tablecloth, which I've cut up to use as a mat. If you don't have that hanging around, which you might not do, you can just work on a bit of newspaper and that will be totally fine, but it does tend to go a bit soggy as you work. So just remember that from time to time you need to take that sheet off, chuck it away, put a fresh one on, carry on. Okay? So guys, you might need, we're going to start, we're rolling out slabs today, which you probably know, but just in case you haven't seen the list, you're going to need 2 sticks, which will help us to get the right thickness of clay. If you don't have 2 sticks, you can use 2 magazines that are about the same size and just put one on each side of your clay. That would work totally fine. Pen too. You can use a kitchen rolling pin, just make sure you wash it up really well. Clay's not really going to hurt you, but you don't particularly want to have clay in your food too, so you need to do some really good washing up, or just get a cheap one from a lot of household shops still do them. Just get a cheap one and then you could just keep that for clay if you're going to do a lot of clay projects. And for this session we need knife and fork, or any knife and fork that you don't mind using again, pencil, and I have got a really handy felt tip pen with a nice bumpy lid. I don't know if you can see that, but that's not critical. Would be handy, but if you don't have one, doesn't matter, pencil will be fine. You need to find a little pot that you can put some water in. I've actually got some slurry or clay glue. And I've got an old toothbrush here, but again, if you don't have those, it won't matter. If you just have a plastic pot with a bit of water in and you've got your fork, you'll be fine. What we do need though is we need a cardboard face shape because we're making faces, and I have just cut this out from a bit of old cereal packet. Does the job. If you can see the measurements there, that's roughly what you're working towards. Doesn't have to be exact, obviously everyone's face will be different, but just roughly that's what you're aiming for when you cut it out. Okay, so if you haven't got all of that, you might just want to go get it all set up and pause the video here, come back when you're ready. Okay? Right. Okay, so if you've got everything, we're good to go, I hope. So we're going to make some faces today. So I'd like everyone to start by patting down that clay using this bit of our hand, which is called the palm of your hand. Give it a good pat. Just want to try and get that clay a bit flatter. If you can't help yourself and you've poked loads of holes in it, because I know some of the little ones like to do that, very tempting, don't worry, you can always turn it over if it gets a bit messy. You don't want to pat it too thin. So at this point, you want to get your sticks or your magazines, put them on either side of the clay. Oh yes, sorry, in terms of the amount of clay we need. So I had a lump which was a little bit thicker than this in a kind of roundish shape. And I've also got this extra lump which I'm going to use, and that should be all we need for today. So rolling pin, we're going to take our rolling pin and we're going to roll from the bottom all the way to the top, and we're going to keep going. This can take a little while. Sometimes the kids find this quite hard if they're quite small. So if you're a little bit of a smaller child, you might want your grown-up to help you. You can put your hands in the middle if you're little, and get your grown-up to put their hands maybe on the outside, and then you can all push together right to the top, right to the bottom. Try and get it really flat until you get to the point where the rolling pin's going over fairly easily. Sometimes you find that you get a big ridge in your slab. And that might just be because you hadn't managed to pat it all down enough before you started rolling, and that doesn't matter. Just do it now. Give that ridge a little pat down with your hand, and then get your rolling pin back out, have another go. Okay, so that should be fine. We should be good to go now. We're going to take our clay face shape that we cut out, and we're just going to pop it on top of that clay. Now, if it doesn't quite fit, it probably won't matter. But if it's really not fitting, if it's just a tiny bit hanging off, don't worry about it too much. If it's loads of it that's not fitting, you might want to get a bit of extra clay like this. Supposing it didn't fit at all, you might, if you didn't have quite enough, you could join a bit of extra clay on. Can you see what I'm doing? And I'm just blending that in really well, and then I'm getting my rolling pin and I'm just rolling that on, and then try again. Oh, look, now it fits. Okay, so give that a try. When you put your cardboard shape on, you just want to give it a gentle pat, because we don't want that moving around while we're trying to cut round it. So I'm going to take my plastic knife now, and I'm going to cut around my cardboard shape. Now, little ones, you might find this a bit tricky. You might want to get your grown up to help a little bit. Maybe one cuts and one takes the clay away, but have a go, because you know, you might find it's fine. You just don't know. But the secret is not to hold your knife like this. Don't do that. You want to hold your knife quite high up near the end, so you've got good control, and you don't want to try and do it all in one go. So just cut a little bit of clay off, and then stop, and then cut another little bit of clay off, and then stop, and keep going all the way around, just doing a little bit at a time. And can you see that I'm pulling towards me? I'm not pushing, I'm pulling that knife, much easier. Top tip, get your sticks or your magazines out of the way so you can turn the clay around as you work. If you're not on something that is easy to turn, you can always just lift this up and move the clay instead. But sometimes it's just easier to take your mat and move it around, makes it much easier to get in there. Now this can take a little while, especially if you're a bit smaller. Don't worry, just take your time and keep going all the way around. And if you need to pause the video until you're finished this bit, then please do, and just come back when you've cut your shape out and you're ready to join in again. Okay, so there we go. I've done mine. So hopefully you guys have finished your cutting out too, and we can all carry on now. So let's take that cardboard off our clay that we've just cut out, put that out of the way. You should have a good face shape now. Sometimes you end up with a really ragged edge, and some kids don't like that. So if that's bothering you, children, just take your finger, smooth off around the edge, but it's not that important really, it's up to you. If you want it smooth, then just take your finger and smooth off those edges. If you're not bothered, carry on. So we're going to start now by making a nose, and we're going to roll that nose in our hands. So we've just taken a lump off our extra clay, and we're just going to give it a roll in our hands. Now your hands are a really nice curvy shape, make it really easy to roll out, so give that a good roll. Rolling, rolling. Okay, well done. And we're just going to think now about where our nose should be, because we want to get ready to stick it down onto our slab. Now I'm just lifting mine up so you can see, but you don't need to lift yours up. So where should my nose go on my face shape? Is my nose up here? Don't think so. My nose down here? Don't think so. So you want to be aiming pretty much the center of your face. So take your fork, and we're just going to do a bit of scritchy scratching in the middle. And then you can, if you have an old toothbrush, you can use your toothbrush dip it into your water. Sorry, you can't see that, can you? So if you have an old toothbrush, dip it into your pot of water. If you don't have an old toothbrush, don't worry. Just use your fork, dip it in the water, and then get a bit of water on those scritchy scratchings. I've got a little pot of clay glue, but it doesn't really matter. You can easily use water, but you just need to work it into the clay a little bit. Get it so it's a nice sticky place to join, and then when you're ready, you can press that nose on. Now, not only am I pressing it on, but I'm taking my finger and I'm blending the clay in. So I'm just going to hold it up so you guys can see, but you don't need to lift yours up. Just taking my finger and I'm working that clay in. I'm just doing that at the top so I don't lose my nose shape. And I'm just going to give it a little squeeze because I quite want mine to be quite a lumpy nose. But if you don't want it lumpier, you could flatten it down a bit more. It's up to you. Okay, well done, guys. So next, I think we should start on our eyes. So we're going to do the same, but this time we're going to take a couple of lumps and we're going to try to roll them into same size balls, which is not as easy as it sounds always. So give that a try, rolling, rolling, rolling. Some kids like to roll in their hands. Sometimes people find it easier to roll on the mat. So just give it both a try, see what works for you. So I've got one eye there. Now I'm going to try and do another one that is the same size. Get that started. Sometimes it's hard to get your ball going at the beginning. Just keep rolling it. Well done. You're doing really well, guys. There we go. So I have got 2 lumps there. You see that? And they are about the same size, but one is a bit bigger. So I'm going to take the bigger one. I'm just going to take a tiny bit of clay off it. Going to give it another roll. Doesn't matter hugely if they're the wrong size, but I would quite like my eyes the same size if I can. So we're just going to aim for as similar as we can do at this point. Great. Okay, so when you're happy with your balls that are going to be our eyes, we're going to do the same again. We're going to take our fork and we're going to do some scritchy scratching. Now, before you do this, try not to put them too high up. And the reason is we need some room to join our hair. So we don't want to put our eyes up here because where's our hair going to go? So you need to try and put them on each side of your nose, just above. If you scratch it and you think, oh no, I've already done it up here. What am I going to do? Just take your finger, rub it out. Clays, it's just like having its own rubber. So just rub the ones out that are in the wrong place, put them down there where they should be. And then don't forget to dip your fork in the water or your toothbrush. Give it a good brush with the clay glue or the water, whatever you're using. Okay, and then when you're ready, you can take those eyes and press them on. Make sure you give them a good press down. You don't want them flat, but you want to make sure that they are well joined. There we go. Can you see? Great. So if you have a pen with a bumpy lid, we're going to make some holes in those eyes. So I'm just going to go straight in and straight out. And that has given me a really nice eye shape with a bit of almost like eyelashes. But if you don't have a pen with a bumpy lid, it doesn't really matter. Take your pencil, just use the flat end, not the pointy end, the flat end, and just press that in instead. There you go. Now if you would like to have some eyelashes, but you don't have any because you don't have a bumpy lid, you can take your pencil point and just draw them on. In fact, you could do that anyway if you wanted to. You could do it on the other eye too. Well, even if you do have eyelashes, it's quite fun, isn't it? There we go. Give that a go. And sorry, I meant to say, while you have your pencil out, if you want to turn it the other way to the pointy end, if you want to, don't have to, you could give yourself some nostrils. There we go. So, how are we doing, everyone? Oh, that looks brilliant. You all look like you're doing so well. Okay, so next, I think when you've finished your eyes, and if you haven't finished your eyes, that's fine. Just pause here, carry on when you're ready. If you're ready to go, we're going to get started on our mouth. So, I'm hoping by now that you guys have finished your eyes and you're ready to get started on your mouth. Okay, so I've taken another bit of clay from my lump, and this time I'm going to roll it on the mat like this, and I'm aiming for a very skinny little sausage. So just roll it. You don't want it too thin because things tend to break off when they get too thin. But once you've rolled it, you can have a think about what you would like. Now, before you try to stick it on, it's a good idea just to have a look at it on the face first. So you might put this on and you might think, oh, it's a bit too big. I'd quite like it a bit smaller. So that's fine. Just break a bit off, have another look. Oh, that looks a bit better, doesn't it? Now, you could do it like that. If you prefer, you could have two smaller ones that almost look like lips. So you could do two together like that. Just depends on what you feel like having for your face. Totally up to you. So I'm going to have a think about what I would like for my lips, and I'm going to take my fork, just going to do a bit of scratching at the bottom. Try not to go all over your face, just try to do it in the area where you're about to join on. Don't forget a bit of water. Give it a good scratchy scratch with a bit of water. Make sure it's nice and sticky. And take your mouth and just join that on. Okay? Can you see I'm pressing it on as well? There we go. So I hope you guys are doing a good job there. I bet you are. So I'm just going to let everyone catch up a little bit. Do your mouth if you want to. Pause here while you decide on how you're going to do your mouth, and then carry on when you're ready. Okay, so hopefully by now everybody's done their mouth as well. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do some hair. Now the reason we're doing hair before ears is because some people quite like to have long hair, and then you don't really need any ears because you won't see them. So we're going to do hair next, and then ears are optional. That means you can choose if you want ears, can, can't, up to you. Okay, so hair. I would suggest that you move your face to the top of the mat so you've got a bit of space in front of you. You want to make sure you're always working on your mat because the clay doesn't stick. So don't be tempted to put this on the tablecloth just in case it gets a bit stuck and then it might be harder to get off. So just leave that at the top of the mat. And take some more lumps, little lumps from your big clay lump that you've got there. We're just going to give those a roll on the mat. So I'm just rolling those, the same as I did for my mouth. Just rolling those all out. Now when you're doing your rolling, try to go quite far up and down the mat. Try not to go like this, because what happens is it just goes very flat and then it won't roll anymore. So try to do some good rolling, gentle pressure. That's it. That means pressing down, not too hard, not too soft, somewhere in the middle. To be honest, it's just experience, so you just have to give it a try and you get better the more you do. Okay, so I'm just lining up my bits of hair here so that I've got quite a few ready to go. I think I might have a couple more. I'm just going to do some long ones as well, just to show you what those would look like, because some people might want long hair, some people might want short hair. Depends what kind of face you're making, doesn't it? Okay. So there's some long ones. There we are. I had some people make some amazing hair the last time we did this. They actually plaited the hair and did like braids. It was amazing. So anyhow, this is going to be much easier, I think. That's why I'm ambitious doing plaits. So here's my face and I'm ready to go with my hair. So I'm going to take my fork again and I'm going to, before I do anything with my hair, I'm just going to do some really good scratching all around the top of the head. Can you see there? And then I'm going to dip my fork into my glue or into your water and just keep going back over it. You want it to be nice and wet and a bit sticky. That's what we're aiming for. Okay, so options for hair. You might want some long hair, in which case you could join it at the top. Now you need to make sure you press it down every time you stick one on. Even if you don't press it down all the way, just make sure the top is joined on really well, otherwise that's going to fall off if you don't join it in. Okay, so just keep building up. If you want your long hair coming down, keep adding until you're happy with it. Okay, so there's someone with some long hair. If you don't want long hair, that's fine. You could just stick them on. You might want some short spiky hair like this. So you could just stick them on pointing up instead, like this maybe. There's a crazy looking guy, isn't he? So it's up to you. That's how it would look. You can keep going, obviously, do as much hair as you want, going all the way around. This was the one I made earlier in the other session that I did. And he looks like he's been out in the wind. He looks like he's got a bit of a crazy sideways hair going on. He's been out in a bit of a hurricane, I think. Okay, so this is how this guy's looking. So obviously that will take you a little while to build up your hair. So just keep rolling, keep adding. Remember to keep blending your clay in so it doesn't fall out. And you could obviously do really long hair if you want to, up to you. So take your time doing your hair, and when you're ready, come back and we will carry on. So you might want to pause. So I'm hoping you guys have all done your hair now, and I'm just going to show you how to do ears. If you've got long hair already, you might not want to do ears, and that is totally fine, but if you do, this is how to do it. So I have broken off another 2 lumps from my big lump of clay. Got 2 lumps here, a bit like we did for the eyes, but possibly a little bit bigger. You don't want them enormous. And I'm just going to pat those down on the mat. Okay. And I'm going to take my fork and I'm going to do a bit of scratching at the side of the face. So can you see my ears are on the side of my head? They're quite high up, almost next to my eyes, but it doesn't matter too much. It might just depend on where you've got space, because everyone's eyes are going to be in a different place. If you haven't got room, maybe just do them a bit lower down. It's not going to be too critical, I don't think. And then once you've done some good scratches, worked your water in, got it a bit sticky, you can press those ears on. You want them sticking out of the head. You just want them to make sure that the join is at the side though. So can you see what I'm doing there? My ear is sticking outside of my head, but the join is on the face. Okay, both sides. Just going to work that in so you can see what I'm doing. So make sure you do some really good blending. Take that finger, work that clay in. There you go. If you would like, you could do some holes in the ears. That might look good. You take your pencil or your pen, maybe use the bumpy end, or maybe use the other end. Sometimes a bit hard to get the clay out there, so try not to go too deep. But you could do some good holes in your ears like that, if you want to. Fuck you. Now he looks like he's got some big old earrings in, doesn't he? Okay, so how are you getting on? I hope your faces are all looking brilliant. I bet they are. Wow, you guys have done such good work. Amazing. Okay, well done. So we are going to finish there, but if you have more time and more clay and would like to do a little bit more on your face, you could maybe give him a bow tie, like this. He's going to a smart party, or you could give him a little scarf. Maybe he's going out somewhere and it's really windy, so you just have to play around with that. Scarf is a really easy one because you can just do a nice big sausage and flatten it down, and then maybe join it on at the bottom. Do a couple of those going in different directions, or going off in the same direction. What else could you do? You could do some brilliant earrings. You could give him some good, give her some, him or her, give your face some good earrings. Or you could do a necklace, or you could do a little tiara. Sometimes people have given their faces a little crown or a little tiara, something like that. Just going to do another bit of scarf just to give you an idea of what you could do. There we go. I've done a bit of a actually that doesn't look quite as good as it could. I think maybe going the other way would be better. There we go. So my guy has got a scarf on, can you see? And I might just give it some stripes with my pencil. Or you could maybe just give it some dots. Make it a bit more interesting. Oh, sorry, the light suddenly got very bright. Where's the sun come from? Wow. Okay. So I'm not sure if you can see that. Suddenly got very bright. But I hope that you have enjoyed the Kids Clay Workshop today, and all your faces look brilliant. I think you can give yourselves a little clap. Well done, brilliant work, and we hope to see you soon. Oh, that's better. The light's a bit better now. And I just wanted to say that just before you go, you might like to have a look at some of the other faces that other kids have made. So they'll be coming up on the screen shortly. Okay, happy making!